Chapter 481 Hunting Time. While many demon kings were unaware, Qin Feng had already killed many demon kings. Most of these demon kings are the demon kings of the 4th or 5th level of the heavenly demon general. Qin Feng discovered that the demon kings in this ancient secret realm seemed to advocate individualism. They never brought their own race to fight, and only relied on their personal fight with force. Ridiculous. As a demon king, what is important is not only its own strength, but the strength of the population is also a criterion for measuring it as a whole. Now, all of the glory worker bees under him are masters of the 5th level of the heavenly demon general. Although the individual strength alone is even weaker than that of ordinary monsters, their victory is due to their large number, which is enough to use numbers get to win. At this moment, a glorious worker bee discovered the target demon king and came to report. Report to the king. We have found the target demon king you mentioned, which are 2 twin rats. The twin rat kings are also a very peculiar race. Each twin rat is born with a brother. When they are born, the 2 brothers are connected together and have a certain degree of telepathy. In other words, what he has to face next are 2 demon kings who have telepathy and can cooperate seamlessly. As a member of the twin rat clan, it is not easy to reach such a level of cultivation. You must know that the 2 brothers of the Gemini rat clan must break through together. As long as one party fails to break through, the other party will never succeed in breaking through. Therefore, the training conditions of the twin rat clan are extremely harsh. But once they successfully break through and practice successfully, their strength will definitely be considered to be at the level of a superior demon king. In a jungle, 1 black and 1 white. What are the 2 rat kings looking for? Suddenly, a black rat king raised his head. When the other white rat king saw the black rat king raising his head, he couldn't help but ask, "Brother, do you feel something?" The black rat king has a special ability, which is to predict danger. Once danger is approaching, he will immediately feel it. This is also an important reason why they turn danger into good luck every time. I feel a murderous aura. Not a group of murderous auras coming towards us. The black rat king looked solemn with such a huge amount of murderous intent. In this ancient secret realm, other demon kings did not bring their own races in. So where did such a large amount of murderous intent come from? The white rat king on the side heard the black rat king's words, and then shivered with fear, and then said tremblingly, "Brother, do we want to leave here now?" "No, we can't run away. These guys have already surrounded us. Their numbers are so huge that they have already completed the contraction of the encirclement before we even reacted." Buzzing, a large number of radiant worker bees came from all directions, surrounding the 2 brothers, the black and white rat kings. In the center, without saying anything, Qin Feng raised his hand, and a large number of glorious worker bees swarmed forward. At this moment, the white rat king radiated a large amount of energy. A transparent shield shrouded them in the blink of an eye. A large number of radiant worker bees looked at the transparent shield in front of them, but were unable to make a decision. "Your Excellency, we clearly have no grudges against you. Why do you want to kill us?" The black rat king gritted his teeth and said that they had not provoked any enemies since they entered the cave. Unexpectedly, they did not take the initiative to provoke others, but trouble would come to their doorstep. Qin Feng glanced at them, and then said, "The strength of you 2 brothers is exactly the same as mine. Next, I will fight for the final magic weapon. Your existence is likely to become a variable, so I must move you ahead of time." Solve. We 2 brothers just want to get some opportunities in this cave, and have no interest in the final magic weapon. The black rat king patiently explained to him that there was no way. What the 2 brothers were good at was not fighting at all, but various auxiliary abilities. If they really want to fight, they are definitely no match for these guys in front of them. Qin Feng glanced at them, and then said, "I am not a murderous person. If you 2 leave the cave on your own initiative, I will send a radiant worker bee to monitor you. As long as you leave, I will not cause any harm to you. How about the injury?" The 2 black and white rat kings looked at each other, and finally it was the black rat king who took the initiative and said, "No problem. Just let us 2 brothers live." Afterwards, Qin Feng sent a glorious worker bee to monitor the 2 black and white rat kings and left the cave at the same time. He was not afraid of what tricks the 2 rat kings in front of him would play. Once they broke their agreement, Qin Feng could find them in this cave anytime and anywhere. This was his confidence. The 2 rat kings also knew their position very well, and they left the cave without any tricks along the way. Anyway, the magic weapons they have obtained so far are enough for them to practice to the next level, and there is no need to throw away their lives for the rest. After the 2 rat kings, the twin rat kings, left, Qin Feng couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. As a result, there were no more people in the same realm as him in the entire cave. Next are those guys who are below his level, who must be driven out or killed. Sure enough, in the ensuing battle for the final magic weapon, Chung Yaojin came out halfway, and he felt uncomfortable. A hunt started in this cave. Qin Feng, who had the glorious worker bee, was equivalent to having a full view of the map. He could easily find any demon king even if he hid underground. After the Red Bull King entered the cave, he walked straight towards the central area. He had no interest in the ordinary magic weapons, spiritual treasures and elixirs. He had only one goal, which was to obtain the supreme magic weapon in the center of the cave. It's just that along the way, the Red Ox King of Red Lian hardly encountered any other demon kings. This made him a little confused. It was too quiet. Generally speaking, there were not a few demon kings entering this cave, but now they seemed to have all disappeared, and none of them could be found. Not long after, he met a demon king who was only in the 4th level, who knew that this demon king's face changed drastically after seeing him, and he even ran away without looking back. The Red Ox King was confused. In order to understand the situation, he immediately grabbed him. The demon king was so frightened that his legs went limp, and he sat on the ground. He quickly begged for mercy. Please, please, don't kill me. I am willing to leave this cave on my own initiative. Chapter 482 The Supreme Magic Weapon. What on earth happened? I'm not a scary monster. Why did you turn around and run away when you saw me? When the demon king saw that it was the Red Bull King, he couldn't help but feel at peace inside, because although the Red Bull King had a bad temper, he was not a ferocious demon king. It turns out to be Lord Red Bull King. Sir, you don't know something. A terrible monster came into this cave. This monster is a little black bee. When he heard that the object of his fear was a little black bee, the Red Bull King couldn't help but chuckle and said, You are still a demon king, and even a small insect can scare you like this. You are so worthless. Lord Scarlet refined Red Bull King. Please don't be anxious. Please listen to me carefully. Although this little black bee is just a little bug, it has the cultivation level of the 6th level of the Heavenly Demon General. After hearing these words, the Red Bull King of Red Refining put away his love for the world, and the Heavenly Demon General's 6th level cultivation had almost caught up with him. Then what are you afraid of? You are just a little bug at the 6th level of the Heavenly Demon General. You are also a demon king at the 5th level of the Heavenly Demon General. Why are you so scared? The Scarlet Lian Red Bull King looked at the demon king in front of him and said with some hatred. But what the demon king said made him stunned. This is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that he somehow managed to break through the restrictions of the cave and bring his own ethnic group together. Each member of his ethnic group has the cultivation level of the 5th level of the Sky Demon General. This sentence directly made the Red Bull King's eyes widen. You must know that the entrance to this cave is restricted. Unless you have the blood of the Demon King, it is impossible for ordinary monsters to come in. This is why many demon kings have not brought reasons for one's own ethnic group. Qin Feng really didn't know this. He thought that the demon kings in the ancient secret realm here all advocated individualism, so they didn't bring their clan rights in. In fact, there were certain restrictions at the entrance of the cave that prohibited non-demon kings from entering. But Qin Feng was different. When he entered the cave, he put all his glorious worker bees into the hive. The hive can be considered a part of his body, so he naturally entered the cave. And the glorious worker bees hiding in the hive also escaped the restrictions at the entrance of the cave. This can be regarded as his accident. And he discovered the loophole in the cave's ban. The Scarlet Lian Red Ox King exhaled a white breath. Although I don't know how this guy broke through the restrictions set by the cave, it's best not to let me touch him. Otherwise, I will let him know how powerful his Grandpa Nyo is. Don't stay in this cave. You guy, get out of here quickly, or you will lose your life. The Red Bull King of Red Lian put the Demon King down, and the Demon King cowed out a few times and then disappeared from his sight. At the same time, with Chen Feng's continuous operation, most of the Demon Kings left the cave, and a small number of Demon Kings who resisted were killed by him and turned into his evolution points. At this moment, a beam of light soared into the sky from the center of the cave. This beam of light could be seen from almost every corner of the cave. When he saw this beam of light rising into the sky, Qin Feng understood that the final Debao was about to appear. Later, Qin Feng summoned all his glorious worker bees back. Now that the treasure has appeared, the remaining clowns no longer pose any threat to him. Next, he only needs to reap the benefits. At the same time, the Red Bull King and Sea Dragon Horse King head to the central area at the same time. When we came to the central area, we saw that the central area was a booth, and on top of the booth was half the hull of the Heaven and Earth ship. But after seeing this half of the hull, the fragments in Sea Dragon Horse King's arms were resonating crazily. Sea Dragon Horse King was delighted. If he obtained this half of the hull, the remaining fragments would also resonate with it, and soon he would be able to collect the entire hull. I never expected that I would be the one to obtain the Heaven and Earth ship in the end. I am the real son of destiny. At this moment, the Red Bull King of Red Lian also arrived and said with a soft snort, "It's too early for you to be happy now. This half of the ship is mine." Hearing these words, Sea Dragon Horse King couldn't help but look at the Red Bull King in front of him with ridicule in his eyes. "You are a fire attribute monster, and I am a water attribute monster. Under the same realm. Are you sure do you want to fight me? In the face of strength. Issues like attributes are nothing." Having said that, the Red Bull King took the lead in launching an attack. He trampled the ground, and instantly the ground beneath his feet cracked. There were countless cracks. Lava spewed out from the cracks, and the entire area turned into a sea of fire. Sea Dragon Horse King looked at the lava spewing out of the ground and took a few steps back. Then he opened his hands, and a large amount of tide condensed around him. Behind him, a huge wave rushed over him and went straight towards the past attack by the Red Bull King. The Red Bull King was not afraid at all. He saw blazing fire burning all over his body, and then he raised the huge horn on his head and stepped on it. Suddenly the sky collapsed and the earth shattered, and his figure soared into the sky like a cannonball, directly hitting the huge waves in front of him. With a bang, the Red Bull King was like a meteor, directly breaking the huge waves in front of him and attacking the Sea Dragon Horse King. Sea Dragon Horse King did not expect that the Red Bull King in front of him was so powerful. He used 100% of his power as soon as he came up. It seems that he can no longer hide it, and Sea Dragon Horse King immediately uses his infinite sea area. 18 kinds of weapons condensed from a large amount of seawater fell from the sky, clattering on the body of the Red Bull King. The Scarlet Refined Red Ox King looked at the 18 weapons falling from the sky like heavy rain, and immediately let out a roar. Its horns began to glow with black light, and then it raised its head, and a shadow rose into the sky, directly smashing all the 18 weapons condensed from the seawater. Sea Dragon Horse King's expression changed slightly. It seemed that he could not underestimate the enemy in front of him. And then his figure submerged into the infinite sea. The Scarlet Refined Red Bull King looked at the endless sea around him, only to see him suspended in the void, looking around, wary of the Sea Dragon Horse King's sneak attack. "Do you think nothing will happen if you hide in the sea? I will definitely order this half of the hull." Big Sun Lava. I saw Lian Red Bull King opening his hands, and a huge fireball appeared in his hands, hanging in the sky like the scorching sun. Chapter 483, Who is the Fisherman? I saw that the huge fireball in the hands of the Red Bull King continued to expand, reaching its peak in the blink of an eye. The fireball was suspended in the sky like the sun. After being burned by the fireball, the seawater underground began to emit a large amount of steam. The temperature of the seawater is also rising rapidly. Hidden in the seawater, the Sea Dragon Horse King can't help but frown. Looking at the Red Bull King above the sea, he can't help but start thinking in his heart. The strength of the Red Bull King in front of him far exceeded his expectations. If we continue to have a head-on confrontation with him, who will lose or win may not be exactly what he said. As long as the strength reaches a certain level, the restraint of attributes is irrelevant. No! I have to get this half of the hull no matter what. 9 Heavens Water Dragon Technique. In an instant, 9 water dragons formed from the condensation of sea water soared into the sky from the sea, aiming directly at the Red Bull King in the sky. When the Red Bull King saw this, he couldn't help but snorted, and then he saw his feet stepping on the ground. There was a huge sound in the sky from this corner, and dense cracks appeared in the surrounding space. Then a huge shock wave rushed towards the 9 water dragons in front of him. Before these 9 water dragons could touch the Red Bull King, they were immediately trampled into pieces by his foot. At this time, Chen Feng, who was not far away, was also paying attention to the battle in front of him. It had to be said that the fighting power of the Red Bull King was really terrifying. Being in the same realm and possessing the attributes to restrain the Sea Dragon Horse King, he had the absolute upper hand. Sea Dragon Horse King could no longer endure the high temperature in the seawater, and then rushed out of the sea, condensing a large amount of seawater around his body, wrapping himself in it, forming a giant made of water condensation. "You, the insect that has been hiding everywhere, finally showed up." Hearing that the Red Bull King actually called himself a bug, The Sea Dragon Horse King felt that his pride was trampled under his feet. He immediately sneered and said, "You are a reckless man who only thinks about muscles. Do you know what strategy is? Continue. Come down and I will show you what the real water HL is." Hearing Sea Dragon Horse King call himself a reckless man who only thinks about muscles, Red Bull King was also filled with anger. His eyes turned red immediately, and he fell into a state of rage. I saw the Red Bull King let out a roar, and then stepped on the void. His horns, as sharp as cannonballs, were like a sharp knife, flashing with a chilling light. Sea Dragon Horse King immediately raised his hand, condensed a huge water ball, and then controlled the water ball to hit the Red Bull King. "Repeat your old tricks. Is this all you have?" After saying that, the Red Bull King raised his horns and rushed straight towards the Sea Dragon Horse King in front of him. The Sea Dragon Horse King snorted coldly, "Reckless man!" As soon as he finished speaking, another water ball was seen hitting the Red Bull King. The two water balls merged into a huge water ball. Immediately, the Red Bull King was trapped in the water ball. The cold sea water stimulated the nerves of the Red Bull King. And then a shocking scene appeared. The whole body of the Red Bull King was radiating amazing fire. This was in the seawater. And the Red Bull King was actually able to burn a large amount of flames all over his body. This scene also shocked the Sea Dragon Horse King. I saw that the seawater in the water ball began to boil crazily. And then the water ball emitted a lot of steam and became smaller and smaller. Sea Dragon Horse King gritted his teeth. "Damn it!" Suddenly, a huge wave fell from the sky and hit the Red Ox King of Red Lien. With a loud bang, the Red Bull King rushed out of steam, and a huge fireball condensed in his hand. The huge fireball collided with the huge waves, and the entire small world of the cave could see the center of it. Vision. Chin Feng couldn't help but click his tongue when he saw the strange phenomenon in the sky. He didn't expect these two guys to be so desperate, almost using their special skills. The fireball in the sky gradually extinguished, and the huge waves turned into a majestic stream of water vapor, covering the entire central area. The fight in the central area gradually calmed down, and finally half an hour passed without any movement. Chin Feng thought to himself, "The snipe and the clam are fighting for the fisherman's profit. Now it's time for me, the fisherman, to harvest." Now both the Sea Dragon Horse King and the Red Bull King are injured. One of them must be sacrificed, and he will go to harvest the seriously injured one. Next, the half of the TNT ship in the center will be his bag. But for the sake of caution, Chin Feng still cautiously went to the place where the two were fighting. At this time, the Sea Dragon Horse King had disappeared, and the Red Bull King was squatting on the ground, panting heavily. When Chin Feng saw this, he couldn't help but feel happy. This guy, Sea Dragon Horse King, was dead. This was the best ending. Compared with Sea Dragon Horse King, he had a lot of grudges with him. When Chin Feng appeared with a large number of glory worker bees, the Red Bull King was slightly startled at first, then reacted and smiled sarcastically. "Compared to what those guys said, you are the guy who led the tribe into the cave." "What? Can't we bring people into this cave?" After hearing these words, Chin Feng realized that it was not that these demon kings advocated personal bravery, but that these guys were simply unable to bring the tribe in. So it turned out that it was like this. Fortunately, I took the lead in collecting the glory worker bees under the hive, and then allowed these glory worker bees to enter the cave. There is a restriction at the entrance of this cave, and non-demon kings are not allowed to enter. Before the Red Bull King could finish speaking, Chin Feng came directly in front of him and killed him with a blow of death poison. "Don't think I didn't see your little move. You guys want to delay your recovery by delaying time." The Scarlet Lien Red Bull King fell to the ground without closing his eyes. He obviously won, but ended up like this. At this moment, Chin Feng also received a reminder about the evolution points. "The evolution points are full. Do you want to upgrade?" Chin Feng smiled slightly. This secret realm was indeed full of opportunities. He had already reached the 4th level in a short time. Now that he had broken through to the 7th level of the Heavenly Demon General, he was no longer afraid of the Sea Dragon Horse King. By the way, that guy is dead. Thinking of this, Chin Feng couldn't help but smile slightly and looked at the half of the Heaven and Earth ship not far away. "The snipe and the clam compete for the fisherman's profit. Half of the hull of this Heavenly Emperor's ship is now mine." At this moment, a water arrow suddenly appeared, pointing directly at Chin Feng's vitals at such a fast speed. In the blink of an eye, a radiant worker bee blocked him in time and was directly penetrated by the water arrow. Chapter 484 Promotion. Who? Chin Feng was immediately surrounded by a large number of glorious worker bees. If the attack just now was not blocked by the glorious worker bees, he might have become a corpse underground. Thinking of this, Chen Feng couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart, and then looked around him. He had clearly eliminated all potential threats in this cave. So why would someone still attack him? At this moment, a familiar voice came from the ground. The snipe and the clam fight, and the fisherman wins. It's not sure who the fisherman is. Little Black Bee. I saw Sea Dragon Horse King rushing out from the sea below and floating in the sky. He was calm, with no trace of the battle on his body. Chen Feng looked him up and down, and then said, I'm afraid you've used up all your cards now. He had fought against King Uranus before, and knew that these demon kings of the ocean race had their own trump cards and trump cards. King Uranus's trump card was that he could regenerate his limbs and return himself to his peak level. And Sea Dragon Horse King had just fought with Red Bull King Red Lion, and it was impossible that there was not a single trace of the battle on his body. So there was only one possibility, and that was that he was killed and resurrected. And the trump card he used was used to resurrect him. After his trick was exposed, King Heilongba's face darkened, and he finally looked at Chen Feng in front of him. I am already in my prime state now. How confident are you that I will fight against the 7th level of the Sky Demon General against the 6th level of the Sky Demon General? If I said I was 100% sure to kill you here, would you believe it or not? Having said that, Chen Feng directly agreed to upgrade. A large amount of coercion spurted out from his body. In the blink of an eye, his cultivation reached the 7th level of the Heavenly Demon General. The shady scene directly shocked Hai Long in front of him. Is this guy in front of King Ma a monster? He actually made a breakthrough as soon as he said it was a breakthrough. He suddenly made a breakthrough in front of him without any warning. Now the 7th level of the Heavenly Demon General is against the 7th level of the Heavenly Demon General. And how much of the life-saving dragon scales you have left on your body now? Your trump card is gone. And your trump card is also known to me. So what capital do you still have now? Fight with me. I saw that the surrounding glory worker bees had begun to gradually surround the Sea Dragon Horse King. Sea Dragon Horse King knew that he had no retreat value. So he had to summon a large amount of tide to wrap himself up and transform him into a water giant. Little Black Bee, I know I can't beat you now, but if I really fight for my life, your men will suffer heavy casualties, and you will also suffer certain injuries. This is not cost-effective for you at all. It's not as good as you let me go. How about we let go of our past feud from now on? And I won't pursue the matter of King Uranus anymore? After hearing what Sea Dragon Horse King said, Chen Feng smiled slightly. Have you finished your last words? Now that you've finished, get ready to hit the road. Holy Martial Sword Shadow. I saw a huge sword shadow falling from the sky like a meteorite, and hit the Sea Dragon Horse King hard. The water giant of the Sea Dragon Horse King was immediately split open by this huge sword shadow. Sea Dragon Horse King quickly summoned a large amount of tide to wrap around the huge sword shadow, preventing it from moving forward at all. At this moment, a large number of glory worker bees gathered around, and Sea Dragon Horse King was furious. As a majestic demon king, how could he die in the hands of these little soldiers? I heard Sea Dragon Horse King roaring angrily and shouting, You idiots want to kill me! It's impossible! Infinite sea! A large amount of sea water fell from the sky, and the entire area turned into a sea-like world. Unfortunately, today's glory worker bees are different from the past. Today's glory worker bees can even control some water flows to attack. Soon, Sea Dragon Horse King discovered that his seawater had no effect on these glorious worker bees. Not only that, it actually increased their speed. You forced me to do this, Little Black Bee. I saw Sea Dragon Horse King taking out the fragment from his arms, and then actually swallowed the fragment alive. And suddenly a large amount of energy spurted out of his body. Chen Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. Is this guy desperate for his life? The huge energy contained in this fragment was enough to explode his body, and he actually swallowed it alive. I saw Sea Dragon Horse King exuding huge energy all over his body, and his body was cracking with dense cracks one after another, as if it would explode like a balloon in the next second. However, King Sea Dragon Horse's determination to recover was very firm, and he actually suppressed the rampage of energy. At this time, he was on the verge of death, but in order to kill the little black bee in front of him, he even risked his own life. Infinite Sea. This time the Infinite Sea is far different from usual. The previous Infinite Sea was just some magnificent seawater. Then the Infinite Sea area at this time truly shows the violent side of the sea. The dark seawater exudes a violent atmosphere. The sky is covered with dark clouds, and the wind is endless. A large number of glorious worker bees were swept into the seawater and drifted with the current. Sea Dragon Horse King's eyes exuded a frightening light. Then he opened his hands, and saw a huge water dragon condensed in his hands. He raised his hands, and attacked Chen Feng. Chen Feng's face changed slightly, knowing that the current Sea Dragon Horse King has fallen into a state of energy rampage. It is impossible for an ordinary Demon King to defeat him. So the only thing he can rely on now is the half of the Tiandi ship. Immediately, Chen Feng flew towards the half of the ship. The King of Rome also saw his intention and raised his hand to attack him with a large amount of seawater. That thing is mine! Don't get close to it! A large amount of seawater condensed into various shapes, including crowds, weapons, and even the shapes of some demon kings. And they all came to attack here. Chen Feng finally came to the half hull of the heaven and earth ship. Chen Feng looked at the Sea Dragon Horse King and said, "Forcibly absorbing the power of the fragments will only make you fall into the abyss. But I am different." Chen Feng offered this half of the hull to the hive to absorb. And in an instant the huge fragments of the hull disappeared in front of Sea Dragon Horse King. Sea Dragon Horse King's expression changed. Seeing the disappearance of the hull, he instantly fell into madness. What's going on? Why did the hull disappear? You guy! Where did you hide it? Ding! The evolution points are full. Do you want to upgrade? Ding! The evolution points are full. Do you want to upgrade? Ding! Get the skill. Ding! Hive evolution. Ding! The swarm gains abilities. All of a sudden, the system's notification sounds kept coming. Chen Feng's strength continued to rise, and he reached the first level of the Sky Demon King in the blink of an eye. Chapter 485 Huge Opportunity. When he saw Chen Feng's cultivation in front of him, he had been promoted from the Heavenly Demon General to the Heavenly Demon King. The furious Sea Dragon Horse King's eyes almost fell out of his head. This was too terrifying. Half of the hull of a heaven and earth ship could actually promote a little bug from the Sky Demon General to the Sky Demon King. The most important thing is that the little bug in front of him, who has been promoted to the Demon King, is his life and death enemy. Chen Feng felt the power in his body. At this moment, he felt that this small cave had a sense of intimacy with him. Chen Feng raised his hand slightly, and suddenly the sky in this small world changed. He was actually able to control the rules of this small world. This ability was not something he could control as a Sky Demon King. But it may be because the heaven and earth ship he devoured has the same origin as this small world. So he was able to control the world rules of this small world. Seeing this scene, the Sea Dragon Horse King in front of him was so shocked that he wished he could just kneel down on the ground. No matter how hard he fought, he had already mastered the rules of this small world. So he couldn't do anything he wanted in front of him. Chen Feng carefully felt the power in his body. At this time, he felt that he was full of strength, which was completely different from the previous weakness. Then he looked at the Sea Dragon Horse King in front of him. Even though the Sea Dragon Horse King in front of him exuded strong energy and looked very scary, even so, he was only a celestial demon general. Seeing Chen Feng with such a look in his eyes, Sea Dragon Horse King couldn't help but grit his teeth. This opportunity was originally his. But now Chen Feng took it one step ahead. He should have been the one who should have become the Demon King. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. And the energy in Sea Dragon Horse King's body began to run rampant. Not only that, because of his anger, his rationality had gradually declined. And the violent energy directly invaded his body. The person who was supposed to become the Demon King was me. Give me my chance. Sea Dragon Horse King fell into extreme anger and raised his hand to summon a tsunami, preparing to attack Chen Feng in front of him. Chen Feng smiled slightly, and then whispered, "The poison of death." As he chanted, something seemed to appear between heaven and earth. Behind Chen Feng, a black shadow of death appeared. This black death held a sickle and gently drew across the body of Sea Dragon Horse King. Before Sea Dragon Horse King could react, he collapsed to the ground, completely lifeless, and most of the energy in his body also spread out. That's right. This is the evolved death's poison called Death Shadow. Now Chen Feng does not need to do it himself. He only needs to summon the Death Shadow. The Death Shadow can inject the death's poison into the enemy through projection in the body. Of course, this method is still based on the opponent's strength, which is far lower than Chen Feng's own. Sea Dragon Horse King died because he swallowed the fragments and gained a lot of energy. So after his death, these energy changes made a lot of evolution points. And Chen Feng got a lot of points. Looking at the body of Sea Dragon Horse King in front of him, Chen Feng couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. It was finally over. But at this moment, the situation between heaven and earth changed, and wisps of white mist appeared in the sky. And these white mists fell in front of him, condensing into the incarnation of an entity. Seeing this incarnation, Chen Feng couldn't help but frown. Isn't this figure he is very familiar with the Endless Demon Emperor? Will he still have to fight the clone of the Endless Demon Emperor after acquiring these things? At this time, the incarnation of the Demon King took the initiative and said, I didn't expect that the person who inherited my inheritance was actually a little insect. But that's all. This also shows that your strength is indeed good enough to stand out from many demon kings and win my inheritance. Inheritance? Inheritance? I didn't get any inheritance. All I got was half of the Emperor's ship. Hearing Chen Feng's words, the Endless Demon Emperor smiled slightly and then said, Do you really think that this half of the ship is really a real heaven and earth ship? Hearing these words, Chen Feng couldn't help but feel slightly shocked. Could it be that all of this was planned by the Endless Demon Emperor? What he obtained was not half the hull of the heaven and earth ship at all. That's right. You have obtained the legend of the Heavenly Emperor, which is not the real one at all. The real Heavenly Emperor's ship is now at your feet. When he heard this sentence, Chen Feng couldn't help but his expression changed. And then he saw what was under his feet. Could it be that this small world was actually a real heaven and earth ship? Nowadays, the 12 demon emperors in the world have reached the point where their lamps have run out. The 12 demon emperors urgently need a successor. But now the 12 demon emperors are in a special space and cannot leave. So they can only manipulate some magic weapons to create many secret realms for many demon kings to compete for. And then select their own inheritors. If you think about it clearly, then come to me on the heaven and earth ship. I will help you with all my resources and help you become the second endless demon emperor within 100 years. What a tempting condition it is to become the second endless demon emperor. As long as he becomes the second endless demon emperor, the demon king's palace is nothing more than an ant. As long as he waves his hand gently, he can wipe out the demon king's palace in an instant. What's there to be hesitant about? How to activate the heaven and earth ship? Hearing these words, the incarnation of the demon emperor smiled slightly, as if he had already expected this result. No one would refuse to become the second endless demon emperor, although I am an incarnation of the demon emperor. In fact, I am also the world. Ship spirit, let me help you next. On this day, all the demon kings in the ancient secret realm saw a beam of light rushing out of the central mountain peak, and saw a huge ancient ship rising into the sky. Everyone was shocked that it was not the legendary ship of heaven and earth. Everyone thought that the heaven and earth ship had disappeared. In fact, the cave they had just experienced was inside the heaven and earth ship. Soon, the space broken by the ancient ship disappeared into the void, and Chen Feng's own hive also disappeared into this world. At this time, Chen Feng was standing on the bow of the heaven and earth ship. It was estimated that he was actually in a void tunnel. Only the cultivation of the heavenly demon emperor could open a void tunnel. The void tunnel is very dangerous. If it were not for the strength of the heavenly demon emperor, after entering the void tunnel, it would be torn to pieces by the void turbulence in an instant. I don't know. Where is this heaven and earth ship going to take me? The previous incarnation of the demon emperor also said that today's demon emperor is trapped in a space and cannot escape. If he enters that space, will he also be unable to escape because of this? Chapter 486 12 Demon Emperors. Of course, these are not what Chen Feng should think about. Now that he has boarded the ship, it is impossible to go down. After all, this is a void tunnel. With his small body, the Sky Demon King, he must have been thrown directly as soon as he got out of the ship, torn to pieces by the turbulent currents of the void. At this moment, the Demon Emperor's incarnation regrouped in front of him, and Chen Feng couldn't help but ask, Senior Demon Emperor, don't you know when we will reach our destination? It's coming soon. If you have to be careful. The void tunnels in this area are not very safe. Chen Feng frowned slightly. It was not safe. He flew all the way over by boat and saw no danger. Apart from the void turbulence outside, what other hidden dangers were there? At this moment, the ship's hull jolted, and the Demon Emperor's incarnation frowned slightly. Those guys are coming. You have to be careful. Don't be caught by those guys. It's not easy to have a successor. I don't want to die halfway. After saying that, the Demon Emperor's incarnation turned into a wisp of white smoke and re-entered the hull of the heaven and earth ship. At this moment, small black balls appeared one after another in the surrounding void channels. They were suspended around the heaven and earth ship like liquid balls. You have to know that the speed of the heaven and earth ship is very fast. These little black balls can actually catch up with the speed of the heaven and earth ship. At this moment, a small black ball landed on the heaven and earth ship, and his body shape changed suddenly, turning into a monster. Chen Feng's expression changed slightly. The monsters transformed by these little black balls actually had the strength of the celestial demon general. Looking around, there were quite a few such little black balls, and all of them clattered onto the heaven and earth ship. Boy, you have to be careful. These monsters are all transformed from the resentment of some dead monsters. If you are accidentally swallowed by them, then you are likely to be swallowed by the negative energy they contain. At that time, we will be at a place of no return. When Chen Feng heard this, he couldn't help but frown. Logically speaking, only the Sky Demon Emperor has the ability to open void tunnels. So how did these little black balls get in? There are also the Demon Emperor and the Demon Emperor among these black monsters, so they can arrange their own forces in the void tunnel. Black monster? Chen Feng looked at the black monsters in front of him. They were already eager to attack. No matter what, let's deal with these guys first, and then ask in detail about the origins of these black monsters. Then, Chen Feng summoned a large number of glory worker bees. Under his command, the glory worker bees swarmed towards the black monster in front of him. Nowadays, the glory worker bee has the strength to kill these black demon beasts at the peak level of the Sky Demon General. Isn't it easy to capture them? But soon, Chen Feng discovered that these black monsters of character were completely different from what he had imagined. He saw those glorious worker bees stabbing their bees into the bodies of those black monsters. But instead of being attacked, those black monsters turned into a puddle of black mucus. The black mucus was like maggots attached to the bones, wrapping around the glory worker bees. Boy, if you don't want your tribe to turn against you, immediately rescue those entangled glory worker bees. Otherwise, once they are swallowed up, they will become nutrients for these black monsters. The strength of these black monsters will be able to improve rapidly. A cold light flashed in Chen Feng's eyes, and with the shadow of the holy martial sword, a large number of sword shadows accurately hit those black monsters under his control, and then exploded in the bodies of those black monsters. Then, Chen Feng was still dissatisfied, and with a groan of the earth, a large number of sky thunders fell from the sky, hitting the bodies of those black monsters fiercely. Today's sky thunders are not what they used to be. These sky thunders possess powerful power, directly blowing up those black monsters to pieces. And those glory worker bees also escaped. Boy, be careful. Those black demonic beasts will not be defeated so easily. Before he finished speaking, he saw that the exploded black liquid was scattered in every corner of the ship's hull, and actually began to merge again. All the black liquid merged into a huge black monster. And this black monster has the strength of the Sky Demon King. When Chen Feng saw this, he couldn't help but curse secretly. This black monster is really difficult to deal with, and it will not be a clean death. Boy, I have to prepare to speed up. After you find a way to drive out this black monster, I will speed up again, and we will rush to the destination immediately. Chen Feng had already seen the troubles of these black monsters, and did not want to tangle with them anymore. So he raised his hand, and unleashed a boundless sea. The huge sea water came from all directions, and hit the black monsters. The black monster was caught off guard, and was directly washed off the heaven and earth ship by the huge sea water. Then the entire hull of the Heaven Emperor ship roared for a while, and the entire Heaven Emperor ship rushed out of the void tunnel like an arrow from a string. Then they arrived at their destination, which was a void of space. There was no sky, no earth, no life, no objects. It was nothingness. At this moment, the Demon Emperor turned into a stream of light and flew towards the distance. And a figure suddenly appeared in the void in the distance. This figure was so huge that it penetrated the entire world. It was clearly standing in front of him, but it was impossible to see his true face. The Endless Demon Emperor. His body is endless and has no end. No one can see his true appearance clearly, because he represents infinity. Boy, I didn't expect you to be able to break through the obstacles of those black monsters. You are quite capable when you come here. I never expected that among us old guys. It was this guy Wufan who was the first to find the inheritor. Old man Endless, why don't you give this inheritor to me? Well, I'm about to reach my end, so you have to pity me. If I remember correctly, your deadline should be 5 million years away. Why should you and I, who only have 4 million years, argue? Old man Endless, you still have 10 million years to live. Why don't you leave this inheritor to me to train? One after another, sacred and majestic figures appeared around Chen Feng. They surrounded him, and the originally silent nothingness suddenly became lively. Chen Feng's expression changed slightly. He looked around and counted 12 demon emperors in total. There were actually 12 demon emperors in this void. The usually aloof demon emperor is now like an old man bickering with each other here. Chapter 487 Endless Demon Emperor. At this moment, the tall figure in the distance finally spoke. It's useless no matter how much you argue. This is the inheritor I worked so hard to find. Boy, come forward. Qin Feng stepped forward. He didn't dare to be disobedient. There were 12 monsters staring at him here. If he wanted to resist, he would be wiped out as soon as they sneezed. He saw him arriving in front of the Endless Demon Emperor. The Endless Demon Emperor began to shrink rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, he became an old man and appeared in front of him. The Endless Demon Emperor looked at him carefully. At this moment, the Endless Demon Emperor seemed to find something with wide eyes that could shock even this dignified Demon Emperor. Qin Feng thought about it and suddenly realized something was wrong. Could it be his own hive? You must know that the reason why he has been able to reach this point is precisely because of the existence of the hive. Could it be that the Endless Demon Emperor discovered the hive on his body? As expected, the Endless Demon Emperor frowned, then looked at the other Demon Emperors, coughed dryly and said, I declare that this boy will be the only successor of my Endless Demon Emperor from now on. I will now do you have to stand by and watch when I teach my disciples my peerless skills. The other Demon Emperors were filled with disdain when they heard this. And then, their figures were introduced into the void again. Old man Wufen, who do you really think I am? I haven't even taken a glance at your bad skills from beginning to end. That's right. I won't nag you. You cheapskate. When the Endless Demon Emperor wants to teach his disciples the skills, the other Demon Emperors will naturally leave quickly. Otherwise, it will be considered a violation of the rules. After all, every Demon Emperor's skills are unique. Qin Feng looked at the Endless Demon Emperor in front of him, and saw that the Endless Demon Emperor did not say that he wanted to teach him the skills, but just kept walking around him, as if he was thinking about something. After a long time, the Endless Demon Emperor did not say anything about teaching him any techniques. Boy, do you know what race I am? Qin Feng thought for a moment and remembered that the last few times he met the afterimage of the Demon Emperor, he was surrounded by 4 sea sharks. It seems that the race of the Endless Demon Emperor is also related to this sea shark. It should be a race related to sharks or something like that. After all, only undersea overlords like sharks deserve the noble status of the Endless Demon Emperor. I saw the Endless Demon Emperor shook his head, and then said, No, 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 you all guessed wrong. In fact, my race is a sardine. After hearing this sentence, Qin Feng seemed to have heard some shocking secret, and his whole body felt bad. Sardines are the fish at the bottom of the underwater food chain. How can they be compared with the Endless Demon Emperor in front of him? Maybe you don't believe it. In fact, it's hard even for me to believe it. I started from a little sardine, kept evolving, kept devouring other races, and finally became the Endless Demon Emperor that everyone knows. Hearing these words, Qin Feng suddenly felt something bad in his heart. The experience of the Endless Demon Emperor was exactly the same as his own. He also relied on the hive's continuous devouring and continuous evolution to reach where he is today. Afterwards, the Endless Demon Emperor once again told a secret. Not just me, but even the 11 old guys outside. They also got some kind of opportunity, relying on continuous devouring and evolving to reach the current Demon Emperor state. Location. After saying that, the Endless Demon Emperor looked at Qin Feng in front of him with piercing eyes. After a long time, he said, You must have the same opportunity as us. Qin Feng knew that it was useless to hide anymore, so he simply took out his hive. My hive can swallow everything, and then convert these swallowed items into my power. This is what I can rely on to reach this point. Just when the hive just appeared, a huge fluctuation appeared in the void, and the 11 Demon Emperors, who had just disappeared, appeared in front of them again in the blink of an eye. What's going on? I suddenly felt the power of the Demon Ancestor appearing in the void. You are not wrong. I have also felt it. There is a power belonging to the Demon Ancestor in this void. We are all indebted to him. So naturally, we will not forget the smell of him. No one else should be able to come in this void, who brought the power of the Demon Ancestor in. At this moment, all the Demon Emperors seemed to remember something, and they all looked at Qin Feng in the center. The power of the Demon Ancestor seemed to be transmitted from this little insect. Hey, old man Wufen, what's going on with your apprentice? Why does he have the aura of the Demon Ancestor on his body? At this time, the Endless Demon Emperor looked at the hive in front of him with dull eyes, and his heart was already filled with panic, because the hive in front of him was actually the inheritance left by the legendary Demon Ancestor. This is the inheritance of the Demon Ancestor. I never thought that I would actually be able to see the inheritance of the Demon Ancestor in my lifetime. When the other Demon Emperors heard the words of the Endless Demon Emperor, their expression suddenly changed. They couldn't help but look at the hive in the center. And then their eyes became dull. And there was a turmoil in their hearts. At this time, Chen Feng was pounding in his heart. He didn't expect that all the demon emperors would actually set their sights on his hive. If they wanted to snatch it, how could he defeat them? Boy, you may not know what your abundant beehive means. According to legend, after the demon ancestor left his inheritance, he went to the outside world to suppress the black demon beast. Since then, there has been no news. The entire demon clan is looking for him. The legacy left behind. Chen Feng looked at the hive in front of him, never expecting that the hive in front of him was actually the inheritance left by the demon ancestor. I didn't expect that this kid would be so lucky to receive the inheritance left by the demon ancestor. Then the endless demon emperor looked at Chen Feng and said, "You don't have to worry. Now the inheritance of this demon ancestor has been integrated with you. Even if we kill you, we can't get the inheritance of this demon ancestor." But then the endless demon emperor changed the topic and said, "Although we will not compete for your inheritance, you have now shouldered the responsibility of protecting the demon clan. Who gave you the inheritance of the demon clan?" The other demon emperors all showed happy smiles, then looked at Chen Feng and said, "Next, we will hand over all our skills and techniques to you, so that you can become the only demon ancestor sooner." I saw the endless demon emperor raising his hand, and the originally empty space has now turned into a paradise. From today on, if you can't cultivate to become the demon ancestor, you are not allowed to leave the mountain. Chapter 488 The Great Revenge is Avenged, Final Chapter. After that, Chen Feng seemed to have lost news, and he could no longer be found in the world of monsters. The Demon King's palace has since sent Demon Kings to the Endless Sea to search. But no matter how much they entered every corner of the Endless Sea, they could not find any trace of Chen Feng. Soon the Demon King's palace issued an ultimatum to Chen Feng. That is, Chen Feng was dead. The world of monsters and beasts is still running as usual, and the Demon King's palace is at its peak, with one hand covering the sky. They are developing rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, they have reached 10,000 years later. The current master of the Demon King's palace has actually become the Demon Saint. Suddenly, in the world of monsters, the Demon King's palace becomes even more powerful. At this time, in a void of space, Chen Feng was meditating cross-legged. The demon emperors gathered around him and looked at Chen Feng in cultivation, and couldn't help but marvel. The monster is really too monster. I have never seen such a genius. It seems that it is not an accident that the demon ancestor's inheritance chose him. We old guys can finally take a rest. After that, let this kid take our place to quell the black demon world. We old guys can finally enjoy our retirement life. Why do you call him a monster? Why do you say he is a genius? Why do these demon emperors think so highly of Chen Feng? This is all because Chen Feng was promoted to the realm of demon ancestor in just one breath in just 10,000 years. The other demon emperors were shocked. For them, 10,000 years was just a blink of an eye. But Chen Feng became the supreme demon ancestor in just a blink of an eye. At this moment, Chen Feng opened his eyes. Now he had reached the realm of the demon ancestor, and he finally got rid of the form of the demon beast and successfully transformed into a human. I saw Chen Feng standing up, clasping his fist towards the other demon emperors and saying, "Thank you all for your master's teachings. I will definitely live up to your master's teachings and wipe out the black demon world as soon as possible. But before now, I need to go to a place to find out more. My personal vendetta." The other demon emperors looked at Chen Feng being so polite and couldn't help but touch their beards with relief. I know that since they learned that Chen Feng had obtained the inheritance of the demon clan, several of them took turns teaching Chen Feng, and they can be regarded as Chen Feng's teachers. Seeing that my former disciple has now become the ancestor of the demon clan, I couldn't help but feel very happy. I know a thing or two about you, disciple. It's just the Demon King's palace. You don't need to take action. My disciple, master, I just need to snap my fingers, and the Demon King's palace will be wiped out. Although I am in this void now, I know some things about the demon world. I know clearly that the Demon King's palace is just a demon saint sitting in charge. As long as I blow my breath, their demon king the palace will collapse, and the house will collapse. Okay. You old guys, stop showing off your skills. Since my disciple wants to solve it by himself, we can just watch from the sidelines. Chen Feng looked at the 12 demon emperors in front of him. Over the course of 10,000 years, he gradually got to know his masters. They seemed to be the supreme demon emperors, but in fact, they were all old naughty boys with innocent innocence. Hearing that they were going to settle their scores today, Everyone was so indignant that they wanted to go out and have some fun. After all, since they became the Demon Emperor, they have been guarding this border to prevent the Black Demon beasts from the Black Demon world from invading the Demon world. In the process of practicing just now, I have set up a barrier around it. You can come back to the Demon realm with me to take a look. Nothing will happen. When we come back, the Black Demon realm will be destroyed. Those Demon Emperors who were still arguing about who was left behind to hold down the barrier couldn't help but be slightly stunned after hearing these words. Jin Feng had already arranged the barrier when they weren't paying attention. It seemed that the disciple's level was now much higher than that of the master. Jin Feng stood there and raised his hand to open a void passage that led directly to the current demon world. In the Demon King's palace at this time, the master of the palace was hosting a banquet to entertain his men. Now that the Demon King's palace has conquered a territory again, it won't be long before the Demon King's palace will become the top force in the demon world. At this moment, in the sky above the Demon King's palace, a void tunnel opened and 13 figures flew out. I'm finally back in the demon world. I miss it so much. Sure enough, the air in the demon world is relatively fresh, but it is much more comfortable than that world of nothingness. At this moment, Jin Feng looked at the Demon King's palace below. When he was weak, he was seriously harmed by this Demon King's palace. The master of the Demon King's palace narrowed his eyes slightly. I don't know who you are. Don't you know that this is the territory of my Demon King's palace? It seems that the master of the Demon King's palace is really a noble man who forgets things. You must not know who I am anymore. As soon as he finished speaking, Jin Feng transformed into his true form. Seeing his true form, the lord of the Demon King's palace immediately recognized him. Isn't this the little black bee that he chased and killed 10,000 years ago? I thought it was who it was. Isn't this that little bug hiding around? I didn't expect that you would finally reveal yourself after hiding for 10,000 years, saving me the trouble of looking for you. After saying that, several demon kings around the master of the Demon King's hall stood up and offered to invite him. Your Highness doesn't need you to do it yourself. Just leave this little bug to us to deal with. This sentence fell in the ears of those demon emperors, who laughed loudly, and then said, Apprentice, do you need your masters to help you support you? And please ask the master to help me suppress those little ones, and I will deal with the master of the Demon King's hall. Okay, I haven't moved my muscles in a while. As soon as he finished speaking, all the demonic auras burst out, and a huge coercion fell from the sky, directly pressing on the demonic beasts around the Demon King's palace. Unexpectedly, those monster beasts could not withstand the Demon Emperor's breath, and immediately turned into a puddle of flesh. Even the Demon Kings lay directly on the ground, and all the bones in their bodies were turned into powder. Demon Emperor? The master of the Demon King's palace went crazy. What happened? How could his Demon King's palace provoke 12 demon emperors? Even in history, this kind of thing about the 12 demon emperors has never happened. I have never even seen a demon emperor. But now there are 12 demon emperors suppressing me at the same time. How can this be fun? Jin Feng glanced at the master of the Demon King's hall in front of him, and sighed helplessly. He raised his hand, and saw that the master of the Demon King's hall was gone before he could react. His soul had been shattered by Jin Feng, and he wanted to be reincarnated. All are impossible. Masters, you went too far and crushed those guys in the Demon King's palace to death. I didn't expect these guys to be so weak. I lost control of my momentum and ended up burping. That's all. I have a complete understanding of things in the demon world. Our next goal is the Black Demon world.